Capital Combat Parley here at MMAFA in Kanata, Ontario, with Coach Mike Brown. How you doing?
Very good.
How was Calgary?
Great trip, great weekend, great fights, and solid.
Solid fights. Now, you were cornering Queen Johanna. Speak to us about that fight in particular.
Great fight. Yeah, got the ball rolling again. Had a very tough adversary there with Tisha Torres, number 5 in the world, and I think she's improved a lot, looking really good. And you want to pitch the shutout that night, 30-27, all 3 judges. Can't complain. Solid wrestling defense, a lot of long-range striking, and I thought she performed well.
Now, at the post-fight conference, she spoke and mentioned repeatedly the theme of legacy. For her, it seems like she lost to Thug Rose twice, but she reiterated the fact that she has a long legacy and so on and so forth. Can you explain what's happening in regards to why is she mentioning this theme of legacy? You know her obviously quite well. You're her coach, but from a sports psychology perspective, how would you assess that?
I mean, I think she's just talking about what she's accomplished. I think she's accomplished more than anybody in that weight class by far. She
is the queen after all, right? Her excellency.
She was a champion, defending the title many times. Right. She's has the best record and pedigree at that weight. Yeah, of course, Rose is the champion, but the people, the lineup that she's beat to get where she has is pretty impressive. Yeah, she did lose to Rose. Rose is a great fighter. Rose is champ, but Joanna's accomplishments are impressive, and you'd have to think of her if you were thinking like who's the all-time greatest at that weight. It's her. I mean, I think within time she'll get the title back. Only time will tell, but her accomplishments are impressive, no doubt.
Now, what did you advise her for this particular match? Well, what was the winning formula as the coach of the 2017 MMA Coach of the Year? Speak to us. Well, what was your strategy for her?
It was, be you. Do what you do. Fight long. She has, I think, some of the best conditioning in the sport. So very high level Muay Thai striking and an amazing wrestling defense. She's very well rounded, and she's got a tough style to beat. At that weight, she's very long, very good striking, both with punches, kicks, knees, and her wrestling is underrated. People haven't seen how good her wrestling is. Very underrated, but she can wrestle with anybody in the weight class also, I think.
Well, I think she's got a lot of fans in Canada, a lot of Polish Canadians out here, and we hope to see her fight, obviously, again. And who knows, she might be fighting in Ottawa one day. What do you think? You think you can make that happen?
I don't know if I have that call, but I hope so. Hey, we had a great time. Honestly, the fans were awesome in Calgary, awesome in Canada in general. I think there's a lot of MMA fans here in Canada. I think more than most places I've ever been. The fans are really into it. I mean, look, they had the show, was it Toronto? 50,000 people.
Yep.
One, it's still maybe the second biggest show to date for the UFC, maybe, something like this. Impressive.
Now, you also, Coach Brown, you also coach Kyla Harrison, and she's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. I believe she is the most high-level recent acquisition for MMA promotion. By that, I mean that she's a 2-time gold medalist, first time ever for the U.S., right? What's it like coaching someone with that background and that high-level elite, experience as a competitor?
Impressive competitor, yeah. Truly amazing. 2-time Olympic champ. I think she's the only American ever to win any Olympic title in the sport of judo. She's done it twice. I mean, it's what you would expect. Crazy work ethic, very strong, very focused, and picking things up very quickly. She's now 1-0 in MMA, fighting in 2.5 weeks. Gonna fight Josette Cotton in PFL, a girl who's 8-1 as a pro, 10-1 overall. It's a jump up in competition, but she's moving quickly, and I think she's ready.
What's your coaching philosophy or approach when you're dealing with such a high-level fighter. Obviously, ATT has plenty of high-level fighters with experience in be it jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, and so on and so forth. But with someone like Kyla, what's your philosophy or guiding principles as a coach?
I mean,
I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, every fighter's an individual. We try to find what works for them. I mean, everybody's got a different style. Her style is more of a grappling style, obviously, which is maybe a little easier for me actually to probably help her out, because I mean, I was probably, when I was competing, I was a stronger grappler than I was a striker. So it kind of suits me and suits my style. Kind of a pressure fighter, move forward, put the pressure on. Trap him against the cage and get it to the floor if we can. Otherwise, we throw hard on the feet and always try to end up on top. I mean, real basic, simple game plans, but efficient and effective.
Now, speak to us about the Poirier-Alvarez match. What were your thoughts on that match?
Incredible fight. Everyone knew it was going to be incredible. Two of the most exciting fighters in the sport. I mean, Dustin Poirier is he's an amazing athlete, super talented fighter, and he's ready. He's peaking. He's ready for the title, and it's really cool what he's done. The list of people he's beat and how he's beat them. I mean, he doesn't. He's not a point fighter. He goes out there to crush the enemy, and that's what he does. The last 4 fights was. Justin Gaethje, 2 times to Alvarez, and Anthony Pettis, all world champions, and he hurt them all. So he's a very complete fighter, sick gas tank, great punching power. Sky's the limit.
Now, I heard allegedly that you told him to stop going for the guillotine at one point. What did he tell you in response?
Yeah, funny story. Yeah, like he's always jumping guillotines. We always have this like playful banter in the gym. He likes to jump guillotines, and it doesn't always work, so it frustrates me. And in between, they stopped the fight because it was an illegal elbow, but he jumped 2 guillotines, which I thought was a little dangerous. And I'm like, no more guillotine, no more guillotine. And he was like, F you, man. Like he yelled at me, but I could see that it was in a joking manner, and I was confident because he was so loose and relaxed, and he was able to joke during the fight. I knew that he was in a good place mentally.
What about that elbow that everyone's talking about, Alvarez landing that 12-6 elbow? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it should be legal for 1. Should be a legal blow. 2, it didn't hurt Dustin at all, and 3, it's if they do an illegal blow, it's the rules. They got to reset you. It's a technique that shouldn't even be illegal. So we should allow it. I don't think it mattered. Dustin was. It was a matter of time, I believe, till he got up. He's really confident on bottom, and he's really good at getting back to his feet. That's why he jumped the guillotine. He's really comfortable with that. I mean, you could see he was in control. It looked like maybe there was a little bit back and forth because he jumped the guillotine, but he was in control. I believe Eddie was slowing down, and his gas tank is it's really impressive. It's sick. It's one of his best attributes. He's a 5-round fighter, dangerous guy in 5 rounds. I mean, he punches just as hard in minute 24 as he does in the first, and it's going to be tough for anybody. But hey, it was great. He did what he had to do, and that final barrage was impressive. When he kicked and missed him, and his foot got stuck in the cage, I was like, dang, that almost took Eddie's head off. Impressive barrage there at the end.
Coach Brown, you're here at the MMAFA for a 2-day wrestling and grappling seminar. Speak to us about the seminar and what you'll be covering.
Well, it's an MMA seminar where we're going over MMA techniques, a little bit of everything. Striking, takedowns, grappling, strategies to win mixed martial art fights, kind of some higher level stuff. Coming here with Stephane. He's doing great things, got a lot of great up-and-coming fighters, and he's developed a great program here, a lot of developments going on, and it's cool to see. So, we're trying to just inject a few new ideas into his program, and it seems to be working. A lot of talent coming out of this school and other places around.
Now, what was the vibe like in Calgary? Speak to us about the vibe at the event and the fans. Lewis Hill, actually, the man operating the camera right there from Calgary Combat Parley, he was there partying it up. And how are the fans and the energy? And I heard the huge pop for Bret Hart. Did you hear about that? Well, that's his hometown, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But speak to us on about Canadian fans.
No, I mean, earlier in the week, I was talking with Joanna and Dustin. We were all commenting about the amount of fans there. Like, just you could see that they were kind of recognized more there than when they're in other cities. It was like a really knowledgeable MMA city. Like a lot of fans there, really well-informed crowd. It seems like a fight town. They were into it. They knew what was going on. They knew the fighters, and they were very educated. So it's a place that you want to be. Those are the places that you want to bring big fights because they appreciate the talent.
Now, one last question for you. You've fought all over the world. You fought, I believe, 35 times. Who was your toughest ever opponent?
I mean, that's subjective. It's really weird, and so sometimes it's just a given night. Can be any's night, but I'd have to say Jose Aldo. Probably the best guy I've fought. Great champion, one of the best of all time, I think, and still doing it to this day. Great fighter.
What did you think of his performance in Calgary?
Amazing performance. Beat a very good, very great fighter, Jeremy Stevens. Beautiful finish, body shot. TKO, KO, whatever you call it, but solid.
Solid. Thank you very much for your time.
Anytime.